Morning, everybody. I have made tremendous progress on this hunt, on this chase. I'm going to just call it the chase, not the hunt, because it is a chase, in my opinion. And, well, it's a hunt. Well, it's definitely a hunt. Never mind. But I've made a lot of progress. Oh my God, Tober's eating the pome. Tober's eating the pome. Give me the Don't eat the pome. Give me the... Here he is. Here's the rat's... Don't bite me. You bite... You son of a... Do not bite me and give me the pome back. God, and a pen. You're... Tober's down here now. He's eating my pome. Yeah, that's not supposed to look like that. God, he is really in a mood. It started last night at 1:30 in the morning because we had thunderstorms. And he... Jesus! You're such a crazy bastard. I love these guys, but they just keep me entertained constantly. You're just going to keep that little piece of paper under your paw, huh? Oh my God, he has just gone crazy for this piece of paper. This little piece of paper he's chewed off. Just... I want to show what a criminal looks like to the people. Can I show what a criminal looks like to the people? Here he is. Ooh. That's the criminal right there. And there's the piece of... Oh, jeez! There's the piece of paper that just got eaten off the pome. Pome eater? You're a pome eater. Now he's on the whole stack. Get off the stack. Get away, you son of a... This is really, really bad. He is now on top of my whole stack of papers. Tober, I do not want to get bitten, but he's in a mood. He's in a mood for... He got no sleep. Tober, get off my papers. I got something to do here. This is pissing me off. You son of a... Get off my papers. All right, this is serious now. Pillow. Get off. Jesus. Well, this is going to be a great. It's going to be a great video, I can tell. I'm in Mortal Kombat with one of my cats. That's great. All right. Sorry about that. It's not the best way to start a morning, but what the hell? All right. I'm not trying to be provocative today, but I have to tell you, I have made so much progress on this poem that I am convinced I have figured out the key word in the poem, and therefore I have, in essence, figured out the poem. Because once you figure out the key word, you know what the poem is doing. I'll put it that way. Doesn't mean I have solved the poem. Doesn't mean I know where to go get the treasure. I want to go to the Yellowstone area, up in that area, about when it's doable. Right now, I know Yellowstone, I think this morning was 32 degrees. I think last night it was 22 degrees, so it's already getting cold there. But I'm not ready to go anyway, but as you can tell, I'm kind of excited, of course, fighting with my cat. It's a big cat. It's an 18-pound cat. And when those claws and jaws come out, it's scary. You've got to be careful you don't get bit or clawed. But I am going to... I have figured out the poem to a point where I know the area I'm going to be in, but then I have to figure out the small part of the poem. I have found the big part of the poem. Y'all know what I'm talking about? First couple of clues get you to the big place on the map. Once you get to the big place on the map, there's a small place on the map. The reason I say that is because Forrest Fenn himself has said, I know people from their emails. I would never tell them because I don't want them freaking out or going back and going in all the wrong directions, bumping into each other like Three Stooges. But I know from what people have told me, they figured out the first 2 clues. And then he said they walked, the next 7 clues, they walked right past the treasure. That indicates to me that the first 2 clues are what he once said. It's going to be a big location and then a small location within the big location. The big location gets you to a place on the map, and at that point, the 7 clues are in a relatively small location, okay? So, I'm at the point where I know where the small location is, but that does not mean that I have figured out where the treasure chest is. So, that's not even the point of what I'm saying today. The point I'm saying today, though, is I'm just kind of giving an update to people who are interested that I have figured out the poem to the point where I am about 4 clues in. What are the clues I'm talking about? I'm not even going to say. Let's do a little experiment before I get to the point I want to talk about today. Let's get to the experiment. We'll get back to this. Let's count clues and see what we're talking about. Is I have gone alone in there. That's 1 clue. Wherever he went alone. As far as I'm concerned, what I consider clues. What are we even talking about? I'm asking a question. How many clues are in the poem? In the poem. More than 9. And I think that's supposed to be how many clues there are. Is I have gone alone in there is 1 clue. And with my treasures bold. That's something you didn't know from the first line. So with my treasures bold is 2 clues. I can keep my secret where and hint of riches new and old. Let's say that's a 3rd clue because it's kind of the same thing. He's saying I can, from where I'm then going, I can hint of riches new and old. So let's say we have this. I've gone alone in there 1, and with my treasures bold, I can keep my secret where and hint of riches new and old. Let's be lenient, say that's 3. Some might even say that's 4. But then from then on, it's pretty easy. Begin at where warm waters halt is 1. Take it in the canyon down is 2. Not far, but too far to walk. Gives you a length. That's 3. Put in below the home of Brown. That's 4. Yeah. From there, it's no place for the meek. Definitely 5. The end is ever drawing near. Definitely 6. Need no paddle. Definitely 7. Just heavy loads and water high. Definitely 8. So if you said, as I have gone alone there in 1, gone in there alone in there, and that's 1, and then treasures bold is 2, and I can keep my secrets where and hint of ridge holes 3, that's 3 plus 8. That's already 11. When he says, if you've been wise and found the blaze, look quickly down your quest to cease, I would say that's 1 clue in 2 lines. If you've been wise and found it, look quickly down. On the other hand, maybe if you've been wise as a clue. So now we're up to 11, 12, or 13. But tarry scant with marvel gaze, just take the chest and go in peace. People could argue that's just kind of how I would handle finding the treasure on his part. Not so sure it's a clue. If he said something like, you know, because minions are in the area, you better tarry scant and, you know, get out of there quick, that would indicate there are people around. But you kind of have to read that into it. So, the point I'm trying to make is, I don't go with this, I don't understand this 9 clues business, and quite frankly, I don't even know why it's important. So, the reason I'm bringing that up is because I'm saying I would say, generally speaking, my solve now is about half the poem. Yeah, I'd say it's about half the poem. Some say at the end, hear me all and listen good. Your effort will be worth the cold. What does cold mean? Clue. If you're brave and in the wood, wood is a clue. Maybe a couple more, so 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Who knows? I believe I have figured out about half the poem because I figured out the key word, and once you figure out the key word, once you figure out the key word, you once you figure out the key word, you are on a whole different planet with this. You're within a whole different frame of reference with this, how you've been approaching it. That's all I'm going to say. You realize at that point that the poem has been made a riddle of. And that kind of gets to my whole point today. Fenn, the Riddlemeister, Fenn, the Trickster, Fenn, the smartass, Fenn, the, I won't say troublemaker, but Fenn, the Riddler. I like that, the Riddler. But I'm going to stick with Fenn, the Trickster. Someone asked them about Trickster one time, where they were discussing Trickster. Let's start with this. Well, first let me make my premise very clear before we go any further. I'm to the point where I'm not even sure I'm going to read the books anymore. I have read The Thrill of the Chase. The poem is it. Then as things went on, he had to say, okay, it's in 4 states, and here, you know, of course the poem came out in the first book, and he said there's some hints in the book, and then other books came out, etc. I'm back to now just reading the poem, because from where I'm at, the poem is all I really need. Something he said in the beginning. Let's go back to the way, and he says something in interviews that strikes me. He always says the poem are the clues, but there are hints in the books. And he indicates maybe he gives hints in, well, he has said things like, I've said too much. He implies he has given hints out, sometimes even inadvertently, in interviews and stuff. Let's listen to what Fenn says, though. Because the point I'm trying to make is, know who you're dealing with when you're dealing with Forrest Fenn. I've always said I like Forrest Fenn. I've always said I thought this treasure chest was amazing. Forrest Fenn has been very upfront about something. He kids around. He tricks people. He plays games. He tests them. You know, maybe it shouldn't even be the Riddler. It should be the teacher. Maybe this should be called, I was going to call it Forrest Fenn Trickster? Forrest Fenn, yeah, I was going to call him Trickster. I've always liked that image of the coyote being the Indian, that spirit animal that is a trickster. But then now I'm almost like Forrest Fenn is the teacher? No, Forrest Fenn Trickster's better for a headline. But he is a trickster. He's always been a trickster, right? He was a trickster when he went to Texas A&M and hadn't even enrolled and stayed there, kind of under the wings of his buddies. I mean, he gets a uniform. He's going to, I guess, eat meals. He stays in their dorm room. He's at the college for 4 days before they finally go, hey, wait a minute. There's Forrest Fenn's never paid to be here. Look it up for the newbies. He did that. That's pretty bold. Imagine in today you going to a college. Well, I guess with the computers and all the register and the programs, you wouldn't even be able to pull it off. Back in the day, they could, because they always had to go check paperwork and stuff. Boy, those were better days back then when they had to check the paperwork. Everything took longer.